Well,
Hello.
hello, bonjour, and welcome to Interview Under Fire Deep Cuts. You're here with Connie, me, Victoria, Sonny, and James, and we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight, right?
All right, everyone, welcome to Interview Under Fire, a deep cuts edition. We haven't done this in a while. This is your host and Sunny, as always. I would like to welcome my co-host, really, I should say, rather, and James Reza. James, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, and people who don't know, James is also my brother, so we run this publication together alongside Corey, Antonio, Julie, and Tim. But this is a special one because we also have our very good friends here in Victoria and Connie, respectively. Victoria is a tour manager right now for Cannibal Corpse, and Connie is an audio engineer, a badass one as that. They're both pros in what they do, and we wanted to dive into this episode with these two special guests because we wanted to give tour managing, audio engineering, these two a platform to talk about what they do and how they got into this profession that they're doing right now. They're actually both in France with Cannibal Corpse. No big deal. Just one of the bigger death metal bands in the entire world. Ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to stay with us today. How are y'all? I know this is a crazy time, a fun time, but it's a busy day for you guys. But let's relax here for the next 45 minutes. Just tell me how you guys are doing.
We're great, thank you. I just gotta hop in there real quick because I'm not in France. I'm actually in Vienna.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know
love
that's
going
weird
to
because we
Just
always
kidding.
tour together, but this is a solo trip for Vicky. I wish I
miss
was
you.
there.
So, who are you out with?
And
Connie,
I'm
who-
at a TV show recording.
Oh,
And,
right on.
uh,
Okay.
That is
yeah, I'm doing
awesome.
like in-ears and stuff for the live band of the TV show. And
Wait,
then
is it?
this little basement studio, and I have like this super old screen where I can like see the band once they're on
Right
stage
on.
and everything in ears. So something
Is it
completely
this?
different.
Is it the same show that Ruskaya used to be on? Is it
Yes,
same show?
yes. And the musicians are still doing the show, but
Okay,
under a
okay,
new name.
okay.
And they
I was
do have like
wondering.
guests. Today they have
Very
a
cool.
pretty big guest. It's a German singer. His name is Herbert Grönemeyer.
Mhm.
And
Very cool.
he's like performing with them today. So we have everything
Right
scheduled a
on.
little earlier. So that's why I'm kind of working right now, but I can do
Very
both
fun.
multitasking. It's okay.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one
That's
of your
really
many talents. Right on.
that's really cool, Connie. So that makes sense now. Victoria was telling me when we were scheduling this podcast, like, hey, Vienna and Paris. You're in Paris, is that
No,
right?
it's
Victoria?
Toulouse. It's
Toulouse.
Toulouse
Yeah.
today.
Toulouse.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was giving me like, oh, hey, that's actually there's a time difference. And I was like, she gave me two different cities, huh? Which city will they be in? So that makes sense. But
Yeah.
that's really
Oh,
cool, Connie. I had no idea that you're doing that right now. And Victoria, I know you are on tour currently. I think it's still early in the tour with Cannibal Corpse and who else is on the tour? Dark Funeral, I think.
Dark Funeral, Ingested and Storm Ruler. And I do have to make a little correction. I would be super honored if I were the TM for Cannibal Corpse. Maybe in the future, but I love their TM. He's a great dude. Shout out to Johnny. But I'm doing merch on this one, which is I'm super
okay.
honored to at
Sure.
least do merch for them.
Sure.
It's been a great tour. Yeah, it's just basically the start. We've had 3 shows so far. I'm lost already. Yeah, tomorrow is the 4th one, and it's been amazing. It's been fun.
And
Very
people who
cool.
don't know, like we knew Victoria because she was a tour manager for Ruskaya
Right.
a year ago, and then Connie was alongside her, and they were just amazing when we first met them. And it's we talked about it before the interview started, but we met you exactly 1 year ago today, in Austin with Ruskaya and Flogging Molly. We talk about that show a lot. Like
Yeah,
James
it's a
and
fun
me
show.
were very sentimental. I don't know about you ladies if you guys are sentimental
Oh yeah.
because I also want
It's our
to
generation, I think. It's just kind of like what
yeah.
people.
Yeah, and
Whiny
and,
asses.
and,
That's
and then
us.
we always talk about that. Hey, remember that time when we met Victoria and Connie was there? And Connie, you were there for like a split second. You were running merch for a little bit, and then you just left. I was like,
Yeah,
I
because
was like,
it was a special tour for us because usually we have a bigger crew. It's me
Yeah.
doing front of house. We have 2 backliners, a lighting person, and then Vicky doing TM and sometimes merch as well. For this tour, it was just me and her, the
Yeah.
2 of us.
Okay.
running the whole thing,
Wow.
backstage,
That's amazing.
background, organizing.
Wow.
So it would be
cool.
like, okay, I have to pee. And then like she goes to the toilet and I do merge instead of like
Wow.
in front of us. So we were just like, I don't know,
Wing.
hustling, but it was fun. And I mean,
So-
we're like, the best friends ever. Best friends.
Awesome. That's great.
So
That makes it much easier.
second we spend together is a
Aw.
good second. So
Aw.
That's babe, I love you, and I
I
miss you
miss
so
you.
much.
I really
Aw.
do.
I really
A
do too.
spec-
Just I'm gonna
Special
start crying.
moment. Special
Yeah,
moment.
so
when you're
we're
gonna fire.
pretty sentimental all the time at the moment because I mean we're probably gonna mention it in a second anyway. The band broke up a few weeks ago.
Sure.
We should
Yeah.
be on tour together right now for about like 3 months straight, but it got all canceled. The band is done. So everything that we thought this year was gonna be is completely different. We're both doing different
Sure.
things now, different tours, not together anymore. So, and yeah, also the throwbacks that we get from like on your iPhone, like 1 year ago today, you did this or
Yeah.
that. We were on tour in the States, we
Oh.
went to the Bahamas,
Yeah.
we were in Mexico City with the band. It's all kind of,
Mm.
hard and very sentimental.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rubbing salt in the wound is.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody on the Cannibal crew today about Stubbs in Austin, actually, about the show back then and how great it was and how great the whole tour was, and just being out with your friends all the time and making shit happen and going to the US for a tour for the first time because it was Ruskaya's first US tour ever,
Mm.
and also for Connie and me. And yeah, of course we get sentimental about it. And
Sure.
I think there's not a day Connie and I don't think back to the US tour or how things
Aw.
were.
We did
Yeah.
call it a family. Like, I mean, I did still do, but we always called it a family. Like, this was more than just a job. We were so close.
Sure.
These were my best
Mhm.
friends. I would go on tour with these guys, and then the week after, go on holiday with them and just hang
Aw.
out.
Just
it
hang
was
out with
just
them. That's cool. I
a
love
family,
it.
Yeah.
friends, best friends, and
And
that's
So
sad.
for speaking of which, so and if anybody who was listening didn't catch it, we're talking about Ruskaya, who recently had to call it quits for, I mean very understandable reasons. I'm sad, I really am, because that was such a fun band and such a fun show. But I was just gonna have you guys just to brag a little bit, let yourselves brag a little bit. Please list for our listeners a few of the artists you guys have worked for. Just yes, and anybody you've, I mean, we've heard.
Start.
So, well, of course, Ruka was my last 6 years, and it was like almost all of what I did because we did tour so
Sure.
much, not in COVID though, but still.
Sure.
And then I did all the side projects of all the musicians involved. So everyone
Big
who would
big
go
flex, by the way. If people don't know, that's a big flex. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of music,
Yeah,
a lot of
so-
people in that band. Yeah.
7 people in the band, and everyone has their, like the saxophone player Nico, he has this ska band called Buena Banda. I go on tour with them. Then the guitar player, he has a blues rock trio, which is I love
It's
it.
really
Like, it's so, the musicians are like insanely good. The drummer is also in that band, so I do go on tour with them. And then I do Austrian bands like Turbo Beer. They're famous in these parts of the world. And I don't know, what else did I do? I mean, I did a lot of like festival stuff, like
studio stuff too. A lot
yeah,
of recording
I was in
stuff.
Nashville. I do studio stuff too, and I was in Nashville for a couple of months, and I worked with Grammy-winning artists. So like
Right on.
that blew my mind, and I'm still trying to go back someday.
Awesome.
And
Very cool.
yeah, just I do a lot. I used to do also before Ruskaya, I used to do a lot of like local crew stuff, like work on a festival stage and maybe do monitors for Friskavillior, or I don't know, just so many different things that
Sure.
I can think
Yeah,
about.
you start to lose track of your resume,
Yeah.
right? Like as the more and more you're working in the industry. And I know, Connie, we put you on the spot, right? Because you have this mental list. You're trying to see, okay, what did I do? Back and back. Because
Yeah,
you've done so much. And so I want to talk about, you guys are talking about your relationship, and Victoria and Connie, you both, and going on tour together, and with Ruskaya, which, by the way, that was one of my favorite shows last year. I
Great
wanted to
show.
ask, for people who also don't know, these two lovely ladies also have a podcast that they run called On
Yes.
the Roadcast, which is amazing. I highly recommend you guys check it out. They have about how many episodes do they have, James? We just talked about it.
What
15.
do you got? Like 15, 14, 15, somewhere in there?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
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 15 now, yeah.
And I do recommend checking that out because you guys dive into, what you guys do. It's really what it is on the road, what the job entails, what your
And we have
experience is like
guests
on the road.
also.
And you have guests.
Yes,
You guys
we have
just
guests,
had
right.
you guys just had what is it, Invent Animate on your
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. They were just here last summer and they crushed it here in Dallas.
They're amazing.
Yeah, I believe they were here with Alpha Wolf and Era,
Oh, nice.
and that was such an amazing tour. But
Yeah.
I wanted to rewind back just a little bit further before on the Roadcast, and the $1 million question is, how did you two meet, Victoria and Connie? When did your relationship start? The friendship that you guys have, the chemistry you guys have, like what I'm hearing on the podcast, like you guys have so much chemistry. It's like you guys finish each other's sentences. It's amazing. So how did you two meet? Whoever wants to go first, because I'm gonna drink my coffee here, and so go ahead.
Drink your coffee.
Cheers.
Well then, if Connie is drinking too, I'm just gonna tell the tale of how our relationship started. We're not dating, if anybody's wondering, because
People are wondering all the time.
Yeah,
let's let the record straight on Interview Under Fire. That's how it works. All right. We're just missing the chicken wings.
We're not dating. We're just best friends, and we've seen each other naked as much as any couple would do, probably, but we're not dating. So that's just a tour thing. I guess.
All right.
How it all started. Well, Connie and I used to study at the place where Connie studied as well, and where she was working for a while, which is the SAE Institute. There's plenty of those around the world. And it's a sound and engineering school. Basically, they offer some other stuff too. So I was studying there, and Connie was teaching. And at some point, my head instructor from my music business class told me that somebody's looking for a TM, for a tour manager. And my head instructor knew that I wanted to become a tour manager. So she was like, this band, Ruskaya, is looking for a TM. And this is Connie's contact. Connie is the front of house tech for Ruskaya, and you should hit her up and apply for the job. So that's what I did. And
she
that's
sent me like a whole resume, like, header page, picture,
Yeah.
date of birth, yada, 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 everything.
Like-
Like, it was so professional. And then I was like, oh, I know her because we did see each other around and like
Yeah,
events and stuff. We're into the
Yeah.
same kind of music, so you just run into
Yeah.
each other.
Right.
Yeah. And then
And
I
I
flew to the band and
Exactly. So so Connie and we have seen each other before, just like Connie said. And I always thought that she didn't like me because she's such a tough girl, she's like, she's a boss ass bitch. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so intimidated. She probably doesn't like me. And then turned out Connie was my connect or contact to Ruskaya. And yeah, that's how we met. And then
How long ago was this? When did this happen?
3 years.
3 years.
Man,
I
so
think.
so it was only just 3 years, and you guys it sounds like you guys have known each other your whole life.
Because we
really.
spend all our time together. That's
Right, for the 3 years, yeah.
And that's really amazing when you meet people in the same industry that you want to work for. I wondered, like, for someone to become a tour manager, what pushes you to become, hey, I want to be a tour manager? Like, what, Victoria, tell me more about that, because as a photographer and an interviewer, like, I've always thought about what it'd be like to go on tour as a tour photographer. Maybe I'll do that someday, maybe I won't. But for someone like you, I wonder what pushes you that be like mentally, yeah, this is what I want to do. Was there a specific moment that you can point out? Okay, you already go ahead. Yeah, she's already shaking her head. Yeah, I already know.
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to dive a little bit deeper into the whole story just so maybe it makes more sense. So I studied jazz singing, so I was a singer before.
Right on.
Wow.
And I knew kind of the stage side or the performing side of it. And at some point, I just, like every teenager, I guess, or every person growing up, yeah, I went to a lot of shows, and I met bands, and I met musicians, and I met people, and I hung out with them, and became friends with some of them. And at some point, I started doing merch back then for some local bands in Austria. And then, yeah, I met a person that I actually met last week again after all these years.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, that's so crazy. He was a TM for some friends of mine who were on tour. and we got to hang out, and I asked him, so how did you get into that whole thing? And I just watched him do whatever, and he told me how he got into it and how amazing it is. And I just saw how much stuff he's doing and how he just makes everything happen. And I was like, fuck the singing, I want to be a TM. And
Right
then he
on.
told me that how he got into it, and I followed his path really. And last week I saw him again for the first time after meeting him years ago, and I was like,
That was so cool.
changed my life, man.
Very cool.
Everything I do now, every friend or all the friends that I have now, my partner that I have now, Conni, is because I talked to you back then.
Very
You changed
cool.
my life in so many ways for the better. So yeah, back then
Shout out to
the
Alex.
Alec back then,
I'm so
Wow.
bad.
that was the moment where I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do that.
So I
I studied music business or music economy, and then I met Conni, and then that's how I started
Wow.
TMing.
That's a great story, actually. So I have a follow up, because so how long have you? Sorry, did everybody hear that? That was weird.
There's
Anyway,
somebody else is on our podcast apparently.
There's a ghost in the machine. It's all good. So really quick, how long have you been on the road? I mean not for this tour specifically, but how long have you been touring professionally?
Well, I've tour managing for 3 years only, so
3
I
years.
started
Okay.
kind of late.
Okay.
And I've been doing merch
Even
for
still.
I don't know, 7, 8
Okay.
years or something
Okay.
like that. So it's been a little longer. Yeah.
So I have toured before as a musician. I've toured. I've never toured behind the scenes ever, but I've toured as a musician, and I can tell you, if anybody hasn't before who's listening, some people are made for it and some people are not. I am not. I'm not really made for it. We have another brother. We have a younger brother who
In
is
Nashville
absolutely
right now.
Yeah, he lives in Nashville now.
Yeah.
He is absolutely made for it. And I was in a band with him for several years, and we toured. I mean, I for me it felt like a lot, but we really, off and on for about 3 years. And that guy was built for it. He is a touring machine. He doesn't really do it anymore, but still, he was 100% made for it. So, according to you, what would you guys say makes what kind of qualities should a person have who wants to tour professionally?
Social skills.
Social skills, for sure.
You're on, like in a bus or whatever, you spend so much time with the same people, and you have to be really flexible. Like you can't just always have it your way. You just have social skills
for sure.
You have to be spontaneous. Maybe that's also like being flexible, what Conni just said, because there's a lot of troubleshooting going on all the time. You try to sort out certain things that you can sort out in the advancing phase or whatever, but every day there's something you have to be spontaneous about and be like, okay, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. So and you have to stand a lot of farting.
Okay, see, I was about to go like, okay, physiologically, what are we talking? Because like for me, I would get in the tour van or whatever for after a couple of days, I'm constipated, to just be honest with you. And after a few days of that, I get depressed. I don't know if anybody else experiences that, but
it's the toxins. Yes.
I have that on road trips. So
yeah.
Which, by the way, we're actually going to Austin in a couple days.
Yeah, we're going to Austin for South by Southwest. Yeah.
So the irony and all that.
But physiologically, what do you think? Okay, so for example, my brother didn't have to sleep very much. He was fine, and when he did sleep, he could sleep in any position anywhere. Like if we were in a hotel, we didn't have enough beds. Like,
it's pretty amazing.
That's a big and important skill to be able to fall asleep wherever, whenever, because you will not have your 8 hours once every night. You will have to maybe have half an hour nap here, half an hour there, maybe an hour before dinner and before doors, and you will be lying down somewhere in a room, on the floor, on the couch, in the bus. So you have to be able to fall asleep wherever, whenever. And also, I think a lot of people, they like stability, and they like their schedules, like
routine,
Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. They want to have everything. I mean, we are we have our schedule figured out. Like we're good at that. We're good at planning and at organizing, but it's always different. Every day is different. For me, I'm like self-employed, and I do whatever gig I want to do or not want to do. No day is the same. And if you need stability, and if you need that kind of you know, every day looks the same, you're definitely not made for touring, even though you
Sure,
love
yeah.
it, you can't go on tour because you will get annoyed or depressed or whatever.
Yeah. What's
Absolutely.
the you got to be adaptable to the environment also.
Sure, yeah.
As you're telling me this, Connie, and this goes for both of you, what's the craziest place you guys have slept in? Now that's a question.
Yes.
That's a
Please.
burning question. We need the wings
Yes.
again. James, where's the wings?
I would say like just dirty backstage rooms on like a hardwood bench or so, being
Yeah.
music in the background super loud.
Yeah.
I could fall asleep anywhere.
That was
Man,
yeah, so good. That's probably what did me in, sleeping after 10, 12 days out. And
Yeah.
I that was the 10, 12 days of touring, and I've had maybe 3 days worth of sleep, and then I'm still, and we didn't, and I wasn't in a big enough band. I didn't have like roadies. I mean, I'm still moving my own gear, and some of those times I was touring with two different bands, playing two different instruments. So I would carry guitar gear and drum gear, and after 2 hours of sleep a night, and it's not because we didn't have the time. It's just like you said, I'm not good at falling asleep wherever, whenever, and then my biorhythms got off, and then I'm angry at everybody, and then the social skills go because of that. And so I really appreciate all those things you guys said, and it's kind of a superpower for anybody who doesn't know. Like, touring is it's just not for everybody, unfortunately. And it's
hard,
not,
but it's also very rewarding. Like, it sounds like bad right now, but it is also
Instant
like
rewards.
It is, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
To me, it's instant rewards. Like every
instant
day
rewards.
after,
Right on.
after a good show.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
place
you get
is
to
so
meet
good.
awesome people like us.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
the experiences you have. Like, I mean, it's hard to put into words the stuff that we did and that we've seen just in like the past year.
Sure.
Yeah.
The reason why we did a podcast is because we just
It was
didn't,
so much
we just
fun.
couldn't tell all these crazy stories
these
like
stories.
a million times. We're like, listen to our podcast and you'll know.
Yeah,
I love that.
Before we dive into that podcast a little bit further, by the way, it's kind of funny how I have a Spice Girl shirt on. I have a behemoth plaque behind me. Anyway, I was also thinking about.
Together.
I wanted to dive into Connie, your experience with audio engineering. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How did you get into it? What does this include? What background experience did you have before you dove into this? Because you're working on a soundboard right now, which is really impressive, and I love everything that where you came from. Tell me more about how you got into this. Because obviously, the relationship you have with Victoria is really amazing, and the camaraderie and the chemistry. But audio engineering, for people out there who maybe even be thinking about getting into this,
I think like most people who are in this business, I somehow as a kid started out, playing around with instruments, learning some instruments, and you quickly figure out that if you want to perform somewhere, you do need some kind of equipment. For me, it was in church, actually. I started playing live in church with some friends from home, and we had a priest who is a really big gear nerd, and he
Awesome. Wow.
actually taught me a lot of stuff. He just got me like my first Cubase educational license, so I had like some stuff on my computer. He also taught me about live engineering, and I always said I was good at school, and everyone said, "Are you going to be a doctor?" Because my mom's a doctor. I said, "No way, I'm going to do something with music."
wow.
And he started teaching me all of that. I said, "That's the only thing that I can imagine myself in. Like, that's the only thing that I want to do." And I did go to private school. The school where we both went to is a private one, because there's not too many options in Austria to learn those kind of things. It's also something that you don't have to go to school to. It's something
Sure.
that you could be learning as a job.
Yeah.
But
Sure. Yeah.
well, I did finish school and then go to that other school. But it's also very hands-on thing. So like half a year into the school, I started working as a self-employed engineer. So I got my business license, and I just got as much experience as I could, met as many people as I could. I worked for free for so many months until like my parents were like, it's great that you love what you do, but you have to start taking money for it because you start getting better. So yeah. And at one of those gigs, I met the drummer of Ruskaya because he was playing with another band. So yeah, that's just the whole
He's such a
network.
nice guy. I finally got to meet him at the show, and then I remember he DM'd me. By the way, shout out to that guy. But that's awesome. Thank you for sharing so much about that, your experience, Connie. And the drummer for Ruskaya, he was like, "Hey, can I borrow that picture that you took?" Well, I remember last year I took the photography, but he's such a nice guy. Everybody in Ruskaya is just straight up nice people. I was thinking about other things that you also do, Connie, which is really cool. Is you play football, which is
Yeah.
freaking awesome, and I'm a huge New York Giants fan. Shout out to any Giants fans out there. James, you wanted to...
International listeners,
You know that
we're
we actually
talking
had an
American
Austrian guy.
football.
We had an Austrian guy in the, I think it was practice squad first, and then he even made the roster, and he played a few snaps this year for the Giants.
Wow.
He made it there through like this football player pathway program for the European players. And he was like, I think the first or one of the first Austrians to ever make it to the NFL.
What's his name?
Wow.
Sandro Platzgummer.
That Giants that's Sonny's team, by the way.
That's my team. Like I'm die hard. Like my blood is blue.
Very much
like
so,
I go to
yes.
one. I go to when the Giants come to Dallas. I always go to that game, and then we go to one road game every year. Last year we went to Tennessee, which against the Titans. Great. Oh,
I'm a Titans fan, by the way.
Oh, really? Wow.
And we beat the Titans. Titans fans are so nice, by the way. They're so nice. Like much better than Cowboys fans. Take my word.
I love that they served Jack and Coke at the stadium. I was like,
oh, we actually had Jack and Coke and a giant turkey leg, and that was our good luck because we ended up winning the game. No feelings hurt, by the way. So, but Titans, that was a great stadium. But we go every year. The year before that, we went to Kansas City, Chicago. This year, we're actually going back to New York with my buddies, and we're gonna go see the Patriots and Giants play out there. Anyway, having said that, Connie, your experience with football, like where did your the love for that come from? Because it's
it was because of a guy.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, he was playing like a third league, whatever team. I hope he doesn't listen to that. He won't. So I started like I do love sports. I've always been a big like hockey fan, for example. But then I started just
oh my god,
that's both of our thing. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, continue. Sorry, you said the magic H word. So
I like just looked into it. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna go watch his games, if we're gonna watch NFL together or college football, I want to understand what's going on because I can't just sit there and not understand what's happening.
Good for you.
And then we were in lockdown, and I was watching an NFL game, and I was like, can women do that too? And I always like to do stuff that other women don't. Like I have this itch of like, doing something different. I've always had that. And then I Googled it, and I found that there were two teams that had female teams in Vienna. Now there's only one left, unfortunately, because the league's been getting smaller through COVID and stuff.
Right.
But and then I texted them, and they were like, actually, since there's just one league of women's football in Austria, we're considered pro athletes and we're allowed to train even though it's lockdown.
Wow.
So like I said, I'm gonna sign up immediately. And while everyone was at home for weeks and weeks, 3 times a week, I was hopping on my bike, cycling to the football field, and I had practice. And I've been doing that for like 3 years now. So yeah.
I want you to keep doing it because that's amazing. And the fact that you're taking up these interests in different subjects where you don't usually find women in, and I don't like that classification. Women should be able to do everything. And what I love is that.
Go ahead. I don't want to be patronizing, but because I want to be very clear though, and make sure that you said you were doing front of house for Ruskaya on that tour, right? You're the front of house person. So that is in America anyway, that's generally a boys club. Is that
it is everywhere?
Okay, I was gonna ask as I don't know, but if I assumed it probably was internationally, it's absolutely a boys club. So does that ever get weird? Does anybody ever have lower expectations of you? Because
yeah, definitely.
Which is crazy.
This goes for you too, Victoria. because
and that I would say
Since we're also like we are not trying to fit in, we're trying to be who we are. So
sure,
I'm not wearing black. Usually
Right.
I'm not, I'm just trying to go to every job being myself and feeling confident. And then of course you get weird looks, or you can just feel it sometimes when people are not really into you being there. But
Right.
that's the thing that you have to learn along the way, being professional about it. And yeah, but we've had weird situations, weird comments, and I don't know, I just try to not think about it. I'm
It's
actually in this
2023.
we're both in this network of women in this business. It's called Sisters of Music, and a friend
Yeah.
of ours founded it. And we're doing our first festival this year with an all-female lineup and all-female crew. And I
Wow.
think one thing with all of that is we don't say we want women to take over the business or whatever.
Sure.
But the fact is that 364 days of a year, we have more than 98% guys. I mean, we have like statistics behind the scenes and on every position around a concert, a festival.
Sure.
And we will take this one day out of a year where we make it 100% women for us, just to spread awareness, so that someday you don't need statistics anymore. You don't need to talk about it, because it will be equal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's weird how, I mean, so my current band is fronted by a female, and the last two bands before that have had females in the band. And so it's odd, the assumptions, because she'll be like dressed like obviously for performance. Like she'll be in like I don't know, she'll look really nice and like hair and makeup and she'll be carrying her guitar, and somebody will still like her husband also plays drums for the band. And so it's weird how even though she's clearly obviously dressed to be on a stage and for people to be looking at her, when people assume like she's carrying her guitar for her boyfriend or whatever, it's really it's an odd thing. And it's really, and even like I haven't been like, I wouldn't consider myself to be like super forward thinking. And I've been trying to, I've been getting better, especially since I've been in bands with females. But even before, it's like, that was a weird thing for you to say to her, who's obviously here to be on stage. And she's amazing, by the way. She's incredibly talented. And by the way, to segue into you being front of house, I would say anybody who's ever been to a good concert ever, if you don't know, if you're listening, you don't know, if you've ever been to a good concert experience, you owe so much to the front of house person, because front of house is incredibly important. And I've been to shows where they have, every artist has their own front of house, and one band will be not so great, and then one band will be incredible. And the difference was not the musicians, the difference was front of house and who did their job a little better. And so female or not, I can tell you, because I've seen Ruskaya, you're very, very good at your job.
Also, one thing I always want to say is that sometimes it feels like us as like women in the business, we have to put in some extra, like even more work, so that we can like show everyone that's the thing that, it sounds weird, but in a lot of cases that's how it is. So we prepare so well for everything, and it's so great to have each other and always being able to tell each other, you're doing a great job. And
right on.
I don't know, and then with mixing that band, for example, I know all their songs by heart. I know every single part of that show, and I know that, woman or not or whatever, I know I'm the best person to mix it, because I prepare so well. And the whole tech setup, the way the signal chains, the way it works, everything, it's all figured out. And same with when Vicky plans out a tour. So I think what we want to be like receiving compliments for is doing a good job, not especially because we're women, but
just because you did a good job. Yeah, for anybody. Yeah, right on. That's awesome.
It's just always a topic, and it's hopefully one day it will just not matter anymore. But
right on. I love it. What a perfect way to say that. Thank you so much. So we're trying to hold it to about 10 minutes, by the way. Keep an eye on the time, just for Vic's sake.
Sorry for talking so much.
No, you're fine. No. That was for everybody. Sorry, it did sound like I was aiming that at you, Connie. Absolutely was not. But we just as a general for everybody, about 10 minutes. So Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my questions, and we've covered a lot of them just by way of conversing without even me having to look and ask. So, all right, here's a little bit more black and white question about how many days out of the year, on average, are you on the road?
I'm so bad at guessing. I could not tell you.
I would say
I mean,
60,
last year,
70 in a good
yeah,
year.
last year was more. This year, I can't really tell. I'm so bad
It's
at
about
making
367 days a year, I would say.
No, it's not that much.
no.
No, but like 60, I do like write a little diary whenever we're on the road, and I have like everything lined up, and I think I did count, and it was like 60 or 70 last year.
Right on. Yeah.
But that was my combined road shows with not only Ruskaya. And
Okay.
then, of course, we both work like locally in Vienna, and I wouldn't say
Sure.
that's a day on road if, I don't know.
You sleep at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could be more for me.
For sure.
We're both like still looking to find like the band now,
Yeah.
Sure.
another new family, so to speak. So
I mean, last year and the years before, it was to be fair, we were just focusing on mainly on Ruskaya because we
Sure.
blocked everything, every date out for them so we could be with them.
always
We didn't want
priority.
Yeah, priority number one, and we didn't want them to have to deal with somebody else because
Sure.
we already knew how they roll. Connie, like she said, she knows everything by heart, and that was always priority number one. And so we had to turn down other offers, of course. And now, like Connie said, we're looking at other stuff, and she's got some other bands going on now. I do have some other stuff happening now.
Hopefully we'll be together again.
Yes, I
Yeah.
hope so too.
But I'm like Vicky's with her boyfriend Kenny, she's got a lot of connections to the US, and she's there every now and then. And then me, I'm trying to get a working visa. I've been trying for like a year since I came back from Nashville. It's very difficult, but ideally we could both be touring in the US and in Europe without any hassle, having the visas, having the permits to do so. And that's a big, like that would be great because that would open the range of bands that we could work for so much more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see.
Sonny, what else you got, bud?
I think that may be time, wouldn't it?
We only got about 5 minutes left, and you guys have done such a good job of steering the conversation. All right, I got one. All right. So we were talking with this guy, Stefan, right? That was his name, Sonny? Stefan, you did an interview with Stefan from Obscura. And anyway, so he had mentioned in the interview, I was just listening while Sonny was doing the interview, that he was talking about the punk rock days of like having to sleep on living room floors and whatever in like people's homes and everything. And so after the interview was over, I just asked him, because that's really the only kind of touring I've ever done. Like if I'm on like a 3-week tour, getting 6 or 7 hotel rooms is good for me. Anyway, so I asked him, hey, so when was the last time you had to do that? And I was expecting him to, because he's been in Obscura, which is a pretty successful band. He's been in that band for a long time. He also plays in some other projects. And I was like, when was the last time you had to do that? The punk rock days, the roughing it. And he said last year. And I was like, what? And I was so impressed. When was the last time you guys had to do that? Or have you ever?
Yes, I definitely have. It would have been on this tour that we would have been on now, because everybody thinks that touring is a luxury, and
we would have had hotels.
But on this tour, I had Georgie tell me, well, we can crash in somebody's apartment for this one show in Hamburg, and just to save money. And I was like, so we would have looked at something like this for one night on this tour.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
I mean, it usually we have hotel rooms, but like I said, everybody always imagines touring being luxurious and you have the nicest hotels and whatever.
Or nightliners. Yeah.
Or a coach bus. Yeah. You got to save money on every fucking thing.
Yeah.
Touring and selling merch is the only real income for musicians anymore. So you want to get the most out of it, of course. And sometimes, like I said, Georgie told us, well, maybe we should crash in some buddies' apartments for this one show in Hamburg. So that's not too far off. Yeah.
So my next question.
Hostel room for like 3 weeks ago with 3 guys out of the blues rock band. So I've done that like just recently.
I was gonna ask, would you still be willing to? But that answers that question. That's fantastic, right?
Sure, any fucking day. I don't care.
I
don't care as long as I can sleep a little bit. I don't care where it is, as long as I can sleep.
It.
Yeah,
awesome. Awesome.
So,
yeah,
I mean, on the US tour, we slept in some because I had to save the money, as I told you, or spend as little as possible. And we stayed in some hotels where the beds, I was assuming there was a blood stain in there when I lifted the covers. It was really bad. La Quinta stuff,
maybe hair color, but we don't know.
The nice stuff. And I mean, yeah, I would avoid it, but I still slept in there because I just didn't fucking care. Yeah, and everybody was in the same boat. I don't care.
If we'd had more time, I'd have so many horror stories of touring a couple of years ago.
A lot of.
For anybody who wants to hear that, please check out on the Roadcast for those horror stories. I bet they're fantastic.
Speaking of
a lot of crazy, we unpack all the crazy shit on our podcast, all the crazy stories from everybody.
Yeah, and I love that podcast. And I really encourage people to check it out. What do you guys have planned for the rest of the year? I know you're on tour right now, Victoria and Conni. I know you're in Vienna, but like as far as like rest of the year, because we got a whole rest of the year coming up. It's only March, but what are some things to look forward to after you get done touring, Victoria, Conni? After you get done with your current gig, just something to
festival tour. We're taking the podcast on the road. We actually want to tour.
Cool.
We did set up a GoFundMe to get like the whole expenses
there.
Yeah, but we absolutely want to like do a festival season, like a whole season throughout the summer, and talking to musicians and crew members on location on festivals.
Man,
cool. That's a great idea.
I've worked a couple of festivals last year, and those are as like as journalists, it's punishing. I mean, the festivals, like it's just like 3 days. We went to Riot Fest last year, and it was. I love Chicago, but good lord, Riot Fest was I flew back after the second day. I was done.
As a fan, it can be punishing.
Just
going to those can be.
Yeah, I mean, the organizers for Riot Fest. I mean, shout out to all those people because I mean the work that they have to do to keep that afloat and just to make sure everything is running the way they should. They don't get enough recognition. Same thing for sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that because what you're saying, Sonny, and they're gonna go to the festivals and interview these people. That's all the more reason. It makes it more brilliant what you're doing because Sonny's right. Like that stuff, the kind of I mean, we saw it with Vans Warped Tour. After a while, it's like we're done, guys. We can't do it anymore. And it was an amazing festival, but they had to call it quits because it is so difficult. And so I'd be very interested to hear what they have to say. What you guys can get them to tell us would be fantastic.
I mean, Vicky. Talent at organizing. She's got the Google Calendar and shit going on, so we'll make it work.
Yes, we will. Of course, we will.
Calls, whatever.
Vicky, you're moving away from the camera. Come on, move. You got this. Come on, get centered. She's like,
she's got so much merch done. But
no, it's the sunshine.
I'm just giving her a hard time. It's just good to see y'all again. I mean, I can't believe I got a chance to we got the chance to like host you guys.
Very cool.
On our
thank you so much for having us.
I feel so honored.
No, thank y'all.
Yes, we got us to do something like that.
We got to do this again because we wanted to give you guys a platform to talk about what you wanted, what goes on behind the scenes because people don't know what you guys do. People deserve to know what you guys do, and it's important. And I hope whoever's listening to this, it can encourage any females out there to go get on your shit. You can do this. Don't let anything get in your way.
Very encouraging. Yeah.
So, and that's what I hope. I hope that message gets out there. I was gonna ask really quick before we wrap up, Conni, we're gonna keep you forever. I'm just kidding. For on the Roadcast, can you guys spill the beans on any future guests that you might have on the Roadcast in the future? Because you guys have some pretty awesome guests already. So,
or may I say it? Because you mentioned it before. Conni, should I say it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it before, we're gonna have Era on one of our next episodes too.
Oh my god. Yes.
So there's a lot of good stuff
That's
coming up. You
awesome.
should definitely
That is
join
amazing.
Right
it.
on.
There's a
Are
lot
they on?
of good stuff coming up.
Is it good? Are they on tour in Europe right now? I think they're on. Yeah, so
Yes.
that makes sense. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for that. Okay,
That's
Well,
just one of
That
the
was a lot of fun.
yeah, on the
Yeah.
Roadcast,
Beautiful
and
people.
people can check that podcast out on like all major podcast streams, right? Is that
We'll-
correct?
we'll-
We do have
we'll link you.
Spotify and Apple Music. Yeah.
Okay,
We'll link
on
you
these.
on ours. We'll link you.
Yeah,
that
Yes,
people
definitely.
can-
Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook. We're trying to get on Twitter. I mean, I do the social media stuff for us. We're not Twitter people here in Europe, but we're trying to do that because it's important, I think.
It
Yeah.
kind of is.
Someone
I think
please
I-
help me.
I think I had
I
a
wish it
Twitter
wasn't, but
account
it
for
is.
like one day, and then I closed it.
Okay.
I've had mine since 2008 when it was brand new, and I haven't
Mine is still
posted since,
somewhere
like,
out there.
2007.
My
Yeah.
MySpace is still somewhere out there. I
Oh.
forgot my login and all that. Remember
wish
MySpace? You could do all the coding yourself, and you could.
I
MySpace is actually
downloaded everything on
Good for you.
MySpace. All
Man,
the
it was
demos
the
from
best.
every band.
For some
it's
reason,
even cooler now, it's even cooler now than it was then, except nobody uses it. But it's really cool.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to myspace.com, it's baller, but just nobody's there.
Might
remember
have
it-
to come back soon. You never know.
I hope I would love that.
Me too.
Please.
one of the
Um,
songs I picked to be on my MySpace page. You know how you could pick a song? It was
Mhm.
Hammer Smash Face by Cannibal Corpse. So that's kind of
What?
that's hilarious because it's your. Oh, by the way,
Uh-huh.
we had a Rob Barrett from Cannibal Corpse on our show.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. So tell
Nice.
Rob if you see him to say, hey, Sonny from Interview on a Fire. Say,
I
hey.
will. Yeah.
He was amazing. So one of
I've
the
done the
Nice,
same.
I'll
I've
say
done
probably
the
one
same
of the
shows as you,
funniest,
so we're on the same level.
probably one of the funniest guests I've ever had on my show, honestly. But he was
He's
so
great.
nice. He was so humble. But Cannibal Corpse, man,
Every-
I love that you're touring
Everybody
with them.
is.
So
Hmm?
I love that we love that you're touring with them. That's just
Yeah.
like
Me
that's
too.
like that's just like
It's-
a bucket list thing that you could just check
It's
off.
great people. I'm the only girl on the bus, and it's great.
That
It's
makes
fun.
it even better. I love it. But Connie and Victoria, as we wrap things up, do you guys have any just last words, any shout outs, anything else you'd like to plug in or mention? As far as what you guys
Shout out
do
to you guys.
on the
You're
Roadcast.
awesome.
Aw.
Yeah, shout out to you
Aw,
guys
thank you.
for
Yeah.
having us on
For
your
having us.
Thanks.
amazing show. I'm super honored still, and I'm probably not gonna be able to sleep because I'm so excited that we did
Yeah,
this
when
today.
is this going to come out?
We're probably getting it out pretty soon, actually.
Yeah, because we're gonna edit it before I go back home to Oklahoma, so we're gonna have it done and ready to post. I'm leaving on Saturday, so before then. So yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, we'll
Great.
let you guys know. But keep in touch. I can't wait till we do this again. Hopefully we can see you guys in person again when you come to the States, or if me and James decide to go overseas. But
Yes, you're
Yeah.
welcome
Let us know.
anytime.
yeah.
Come to Austria.
And
and Vienna's that's like one of my main destinations. I had the opportunity to study abroad when I was getting my degree, and I just
nice.
didn't go. And and they would have taken us during Christmas, which I hear is like the best time to be in Vienna.
Oh.
Oh, yes. Christmas
Like-
market.
And they were like they were gonna arrange where I could get taken by the Krampus and everything, but I just didn't.
Oh, the Krampus, yeah.
I know,
You should
didn't get
definitely come
doing
to
it.
Vienna during Christmas
Oh,
time. But
it's-
it's getting cold here.
I've been saying
for
Krampus
Christmas.
the wrong way the whole time. All right.
Well, because we live in America, all we hear is Krampus. So anyway,
It's the
Anyway,
Krampus, yeah.
yeah, right on.
Cool.
Cool.
But we'll let you ladies go here.
Thank you
keep-
so
Yeah.
much.
Sorry.
Seriously, whatever you
Thank you,
guys are
guys.
doing, just keep crushing it. You guys are
Yeah.
absolute pros.
For real.
Too.
And I am very, very we both are very, very grateful that we got to meet
Absolutely.
you both.
Absolutely,
really.
yeah.
I mean,
Very cool.
I
Feel very
mean,
fortunate. Yeah.
Victoria and Connie, I am fucking proud of you, both of you.
Oh,
I
don't
mean,
make me cry now.
Seriously, there's a level of inspiration to what you both are doing, and you're seeing
real.
results. That's
Yeah.
important. All right, keep doing
Living
what
the
you do.
dream. for
Yeah,
real.
seriously.
Very cool.
Let's stay in touch. We'll let you guys go, and man, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys
Yeah.
down the road. All right, stay in touch.
You
Don't be a
too.
stranger.
Thank you.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Thank
all,
you
we're all
for having
family
us.
here. So
Oh, so glad to have you. Thank you so much.
hey, maybe we'll be guests on your show one day. I don't know. Who knows?
Yes.
So-
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. We would love that. Thank
All
you so
right.
much, guys.
right.
You be
All right.
safe.
And-
Talk to you later, guys.
all right. Take it easy.
Thank
See
you
you
so
soon.
much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.